The biggest mystery of the 2026 Barcelona tests finally emerged from the garage in the final hours of Day 4, following a period of intense anticipation that gripped the paddock. As Aston Martin took to the track as the 10th of 11 teams, we understood within seconds why the Newey-designed AMR26 was so highly anticipated. Such a late arrival is a direct consequence of Newey's characteristic desire to push everything to the absolute extreme and his philosophy of packaging mechanical components in seemingly impossible locations for maximum aero efficiency. As noted by veteran technical director Gary Anderson, this car doesn't just follow the rules, it stretches every single article of the regulations to the breaking point. Although rumors suggest the car is currently over the weight limit, its radical architecture and complex internal packaging were enough to keep rivals awake. But why is this car so fundamentally and radically different from other 2026 designs? Why has its suspension geometry become the most debated technical topic in the paddock, even among the most senior engineers? Has Adrian Newey truly created an invincible beast at the state-of-the-art Silverstone factory? Before we dive into our detailed analysis, I would be very happy if you could support me in this journey by subscribing. Your support really encourages me to create new videos and contributes greatly to us becoming a huge F1 family growing together. Thank you in advance. Now let's begin to decode Newey's 2026 blueprint, deconstruct that legendary suspension geometry, and expose the most wild card on the grid in full detail. Since joining last March, Adrian Newey has overhauled Aston Martin's entire technical identity. The state-of-the-art factory and new wind tunnel at Silverstone are palpable in every cell of the AMR26. Perhaps the most critical technical detail is that the team is manufacturing its own gearbox in-house for the first time since 2008. This grants Newey immense freedom in rear suspension and general packaging. He is no longer trapped by another team's gearbox geometry and mounting points. The AMR26 isn't just a car that follows the rules. It's a machine that stretches them and turns them into an aerodynamic advantage. Lawrence Stroll's winning team vision combined with Newey's extreme design approach has produced the ultimate wildcard. This is more than a car, it's Silverstone's championship manifesto. The increased efficiency within the factory provides the perfect infrastructure needed to turn Newey's dreams into reality. Why is the AMR26's suspension geometry so different from the rest? In the front suspension, the pushrod mounting points are placed at the absolute top of the chassis, almost protruding outward. But the real magic lies in the wishbone positioning. Newey has engineered the highest level of anti-dive characteristics the paddock has seen. This prevents the nose from dipping under heavy braking, ensuring the aero platform remains stable and parallel to the ground at all times. More importantly, the geometry allows for increased caster with speed to maximize straight-line stability, while reducing steering load in slow corners. In 2026, where downforce levels shift instantaneously due to active wings, this mechanical stability will directly impact driver confidence. Here, the suspension isn't just a mechanical damper, it functions as an active aero regulator, because the more stable the platform, the more efficiently Newey's sensitive underfloor aerodynamics work. This geometry is an engineering marvel designed to absorb sudden load shifts during X-mode and Z-mode transitions. Newey's aggressive approach begins at the very front. The AMR26 features a much wider and bulbous nose structure than its rivals. This design induces airflow to spill aggressively into the void beneath the nose and around the sides, creating a massive outwash effect. The front wing pillars are attached to the second element, a strategy similar to Mercedes, but Newey's distinction lies in using this structure to create a high-pressure zone behind the front wheels. This pushes turbulent air away and maximizes clean flow under the floor. The wide outer tunnels on the end plates are designed to minimize aerosensitivity to ride height changes at high speeds. Newey doesn't just split the air, he bends it like a shield around the car to feed the rear diffuser. This nose structure seems to have found a loophole within the complex 2026 front wing regulations, proving how deeply Newey reads the rulebook. Mercedes' 2022 Zero-Sidepod was a disaster, but Newey takes this idea to a different dimension. The AMR26's side pods are high and shallow, with a massive undercut beneath. This structure reduces drag while effectively creating a double floor effect, channeling air smoothly to the rear. In 2026, where cars will suffer from derating and energy starvation on straights, this low-drag setup is gold. Packaging radiators into such a tight space might challenge Honda's thermal management. However, this is where Newey's packaging genius shines. While the enormous cooling outlets at the rear suggest the engine is on its thermal limits, the aerodynamic gains might outweigh the cooling costs. Newey uses the side pod not just as a cooling inlet, but as a ramp pushing air towards the rear wing. In the AMR26, we see echoes of Newey's legendary past designs. Specifically, the Viking Horns on the airbox remind us of the 2005 Newey-designed McLaren MP4/20. These components realign turbulent air around the helmet to stabilize flow to the rear wing. Furthermore, the rear suspension's upper wishbone leg is mounted directly to the rear wing pylon, a legendary solution from the 2021 Red Bull RB16B. This mounting increases anti-lift effects, keeping the rear stable under acceleration. Even within modern regulations, Newey has blended the best working historical solutions to create the paddock's most fascinating hybrid design. Blending old-school solutions with modern CFD technology is one of the most romantic yet effective details of the AMR26. Newey doesn't want history to repeat, he wants to conquer the future by learning from history. No matter how perfect the AMR26 chassis looks, the key to its success lies with Honda. Honda's late start on the 2026 power unit is a major question mark. Specifically, battery efficiency and harmony with Aramco's new sustainable fuel remain uncertain. Honda might struggle to maintain high compression ratios 16:1 as effectively as Mercedes or Red Bull without the MGU-H. HRC President Koji Watanabe's admission of a short timeline and comments from Andy Cowell about tough targets trigger fears that Honda might be the engine manufacturer furthest behind. Newey's masterpiece could lead 2026 if not hindered by Honda's delayed power unit. For now, Honda seems to be Aston Martin's Achilles heel, especially since their high-speed combustion technology is largely unusable under the new rules. Under the $95 million budget cap, how quickly Honda evolves is the only real factor that will determine the fate of the AMR26. During the roaring finale of the Barcelona tests, as the AMR26 began logging its first real laps in the hands of Fernando Alonso, it proved one thing to the paddock beyond any doubt. Adrian Newey remains the most dangerous, creative, and formidable mind on the grid. Yes, the car might currently be over the weight limit, and the complex software synchronization with the Honda power unit may not yet have reached full capacity. However, the technical bravery it displays is the most concrete, radical proof of how far this Silverstone-based team is willing to go for a championship. The 2026 season won't just be a war of raw engine horsepower, it will be a war of geniuses who package those massive hybrid units into the most impossible tight spaces, bending the air with surgical precision and turning it into a weapon. When this wildcard from Aston Martin shows its true potential, its hidden floor geometry, and its active Aero maps at full capacity during official testing in Bahrain, the entire power hierarchy of the paddock could be overturned overnight. Will Newey's extreme design be enough to cover the potential gaps in Honda's development cycle? Or will the legendary designer fall victim to the thermal limits of the engine this time? Do you think Fernando Alonso has finally secured the car he's been waiting for in 2026, a car that reeks of championship potential from every carbon fiber cell? Let's discuss this aerodynamic chess game and the leaked telemetry details in the comments. Your technical insights and comments on every data point are a true compass for us. As the F1 Perspective family, we will continue to be in the deepest parts of the paddock, in the most secret sections of the garages, to bring you the freshest engineering leaks. Until we continue deconstructing the 2026 revolution in our next technical analysis, take care. I wish you safe, stable, and fastest exits from the pit at all times.